player class schedules. The coach today, so Bulls be playing at Central Michigan on Saturday, and it's MAC play the rest of the way here on out. So with that, coach is available for questions.
Coach, how does it change, if at all, anything, knowing that the non-conference stuff is done, the triple option teams are done? I mean, it's kind of all teams that are at the level that you're at.
Well, I think it adds a little bit more to the intensity of what this group wants to accomplish. It doesn't change anything. We put the same value in all games, and our approach stays the same. But I think our guys know that it kind of changes what happens here on out, and to obtain the things that we've set out to do, we want to make sure that we're playing our best football, and we need to bounce back from last week.
Does that make it easier to put a game like last week behind you, knowing that it is that shift in the season time?
I think so, and I think also you alluded to the schematically, there's not a lot of carryover in a lot of things from the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, we didn't play to our expectations or desires offensively, so there's plenty of things to address and improve, but. From that standpoint, it's easier to turn the page, I guess. Much like I told the team, though, if we would have won that game Saturday, we would have been turning the page quickly because conference play is now here. And so either way, it's truly that 24-hour. You have to flush it and get ready to go.
What in particular have you seen of your players that they've been doing to regroup after the loss to Army?
Guys come in for treatment and kind of check in with the trainers every Sunday. Disappointed, but again, the maturity of this group, they hadn't gone through a loss in a while, and the way they approach it, and as of right now, it's a blip on the screen, and you really, now, what are we going to do moving forward? And we talked about some things, met with many of our leaders in a small group as well moving forward. We went out yesterday, and I thought we had a very good day. Okay, weather-wise, it wasn't, a little bit of a fall in the air, a little bit something that we hadn't gone, so sometimes even that the first time, especially from our players from the south, sometimes when the temperature changes, sometimes there's a little thing of working through. And I really thought they approached the short practice that we had yesterday with exactly the way we hoped they would.
From your leaders in particular, kind of what was their sentiment, if you will?
I guess if you're going through, they're not happy about it. They weren't happy with the overall results of Saturday. But again, the leaders and the maturity that you want is, the biggest thing is we can't let one loss cause another one, okay? If we don't win the game on Saturday, it's because Central Michigan's better than us. We can't let it be to the fact that we're sitting there dwelling about what went wrong against Army and lead it into a second one. We have to, and I think we have the type of leadership and the guys that understand that now. I think some of the things that we have talked many times in here, what we went through last year and the way that they were able to each and every week keep battling and doing those things even through the rough times. I think that those same things are showing itself here after our first loss.
Tyree was pretty hard on himself after the game on Saturday because of the bar that he's sort of set when he has a game like that. I think we're all surprised. As you've looked back on it, how much of it was the way he played, what Army did to him, and clearly maybe not having Anthony at the way he normally has it. Where did all those fall into to that performance?
Probably some of all. It's we can't make excuses. We have to play who's available. There were things that happened in the game the year before. I think we put a lot of emphasis on, and maybe we put too much emphasis on through preparation of things that we could have focused on to give, that we were doing really well. I think we were, trying to check all the boxes, so to speak, and probably put some in the areas that maybe put a little bit more into some things that we needed to. All that considered, it wasn't his best day. A lot of things kind of help contribute to that, and one is when you're not clicking. We've seen it in the past, is that it's hard to get routine go. You try to get in a flow of things, and when he's in a flow, he's really good. But we let some things kind of get to us there, and we didn't handle the day very well, and wasn't our best day coaching either. So it's a holistic thing, and it's a team loss.
Anthony Johnson, he had limited reps on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see him contributing more this weekend?
I sure hope so, but right now, I would say, probably very much in the same spot as we sat here a week ago. I guess it's a day-to-day thing with him right now, and that's probably as far as we're going to go with it because that's really about all I can really give you anyway, and probably not going to give much more if I had it.
Emmanuel Reed seemed to get a lot of carries against Army. Do you guys have an idea of which running back you're going to go to a lot going into a game, or is it just going with who has the hot hand? How do you guys figure that out?
Well, there's some of each there. I thought Emmanuel got off to a good start, did some good things. As we look at it, Kevin's a guy that was starting to get into Flint and got injured. Okay, so there's things can get slightly skewed in this, because when you run under 60 plays and you've been running 75 to 80 plays, that's 15 to 20 snaps that somebody else would have had if you're moving the ball. So I don't want to get too far into, well, how come Emmanuel played so much more than that? But Emmanuel did have a solid day running. But as we know throughout the flow of things, there's some things we have to get better at. All our running backs. Short yardage goal line situations is one. And we'll continue to work on that. Those, especially when you don't do a lot of live stuff in practice, sometimes that's an area that gets difficult. But we've got to be better. We weren't very good in third downs. We haven't been very good in short yardage, and those are areas that we have to get better at.
Central leads the MAC in pass defense. What kind of challenge will that be for the passing?
Now, they lead the MAC in total defense, and so this whole thing is going to be a challenge against their defense. Two of their 5 games are against top 25 teams in the nation, and another game against another Power 5 school. So definitely going to be a challenge. It starts up front for them, I think. I'm we're very impressed with their front 4. Malik Fountain, their middle linebacker, is one of the top linebackers in the conference. I've said it before this week already, and some other things that these are going to be 2 of the best middle linebackers in the conference on the same field, and that should be exciting for both teams. So it'll be a good challenge. It's a secondary that plays with great confidence and physicality on the outside. So again, patience and production. Being efficient, staying in normal down and distance is going to be very important for us on Saturday.
Kind of along with that, what's the biggest, area you guys are focusing on, matchup-wise or just in general?
I guess I'll take it from the offensive point, Jenna, is, I guess the efficiency of what we're doing. And, again, we do it every week, but, when we looked at this last game, how much offense do we have in? Do we have too much in? What is going to give us the best place for our players to be productive? Going back to that area of, normal down and distance gives you a lot better chance when you get to those third down situations to have more selection within your play sheet of what you want to do, and gives you better options as far as executing those things. So that is one thing that we've got to be better at as we move along. Defensively, they're, for our defense, Central has started to find what their identity is going to be. They're extremely multiple. They use the quarterback in the run game. So assignment sound football is going to be very important. They have an excellent running back in Ward. He's had 1,400 yards, I think, in all-purpose yards last year, so they use them, they split them out, they use them in fly sweeps, they do a lot of different things with him, and I'm sure they want to get the ball in his hand. So, again, on the flip side, we have to be able to tackle well, be assignment sound. We got tested on that a little bit last week, and we're going to have to be at our best for us to to slow that down.
First time this year you'll sort of face a running quarterback, which is somewhat unusual in itself in the game these days. What's the adjustment for a defense, your defense, to be ready for a quarterback that will run as much as he might pass?
Yeah, and what you're alluding to is kind of in the in the zone option read game. Yeah, and again the quarterback counters and reads and zone reads, and they do a lot of things with them. Also in the drop back game, Paul, they'll, if something's not there right away, but there's a lane, they're going to run for first downs, and they're not running the slide very often. And so all those things. So, again, we have to read and react very well. We have to make sure we got, somebody, eyes on the quarterback. But especially when it comes to the passing situations, last week, a whole different game is, I think, hopefully we're going to be able to create some pressure, with our front four again. So I think it's going to be a good challenge all the way around.
There were 7 penalties for 78 yards last weekend. How important will discipline be this week?
Well, I think you're hitting on what it is. 7 sometimes does. I think we're average. I mean, if I'm still correct, and I'm not a huge one because I don't believe, statistics can lie, and liars use statistics sometimes. So you can hide a lot of things in statistics. But, one thing that I do believe is that we're one of the least penalized teams yet in the conference, and I think that was something that we're very proud of, and we worked hard at in being. But unfortunately, Saturday, discipline and composure, lost its way a few times. So those penalties that have come out that were very apparent, especially after the whistle, proved very costly, and we can't. That's not acceptable, and our players know that. So again, anytime any penalty can extend a drive, it's hurtful, and but yet when it's 15 yards added on after a play, it doesn't give you much chance for success.
The one called on, I think, Khalil when he kind of bumped into the quarterback. It's such a hot topic.
You're generous. You're generous. It was. It's a hot topic on the quarterback, but you look at it. I didn't. And I'm hard on officials from time to time, but that was 2 steps. He's trying to make a play, trying to do some things, but I know if it had been in the reverse, that's one I have to agree with, and. But it is a hot topic, and it's hard, because you can't go low and you can't go high. So you got to make sure, but also it has to be within a certain point. And when you're coming from distance, full speed, it's not easy. But that's the rules we're playing under today.
Even though the rule in college isn't the same as the rule in the NFL, when people talk about it, people think about it, including officials. Have you had to address with your defensive guys any of that sort of what you can't fall on, push down, any of that quarterback
we do it every year in fall camp. We have officials at scrimmages. We bring officials in and let our players ask questions. We share with our players the same training tapes that are sent to us from our supervisor of officials. There's one thing I would say is that I think college football was a little bit ahead of some of this with some of the more things in the, I don't want to say the pure targeting, but how you're going to between launching and doing this and head-to-head contact as much. I felt anyway from at least my chair. Don't have a chance to watch a lot of pro football, but I think it's been there. I think all in all, in college, it's been. I think we've been able to address for the most part what those rules were trying to accomplish, and I think we've been in a pretty good spot with that.
KJ Osborne, how important is he becoming your offense?
Extremely important, especially when guys go down. I think he's, it's, with Anthony, highly limited. We reduced his role as a return man. because he's a very valuable person in this offense, in this program. So. Yeah, I think that speaks for itself. I think everyone sees what the plays he's made this year. Even the first touchdown, short catch, make somebody miss, take it down the sideline again, and outrun everybody. He's made big plays down the field. All those things. He is a pretty complete wide receiver in my estimation.
Coach, your offense has stressed the amount of weapons that they have this year and who they can throw to, but without your top receiver and your leading rusher in the season, what's the mentality heading into the Central Michigan game? Well, again, we got to have other guys step up, and that's kind of, we go back to how we practice. It's player development, and that's where, who's ever available, whether, the Antonio Nunns, the Charlie Joneses, Rodney Scotts, along with George Rushing, those guys. And then, we need to get the tight ends back involved too, and we think they're talented. So, again, that goes to some of the rep counts, the total plays being run. But, again, we've talked about that. Yeah, when, it's whether it be offense or defense, when you lose one of your better players or more productive players, it's got to be a next man up mentality, and that's we went through that last year, and especially at the quarterback position, you don't have a lot, you don't have any options, so you can't spend time dwelling on it, and that's why as you go through fall camp and your practices, you have to make sure that everyone's locked into what they're supposed to do and give them opportunities, and then you have to step up from there. Injuries go across this conference. Everybody has them. You can't spend time dwelling on which guys are not available. It doesn't mean you cast them aside, but you got to really take the time and focus to get the ones that haven't played a lot up to a point. And some of the guys that we've been talking about really have somewhere along the line took advantage of their opportunity somewhere in their younger part of their career and really rose to the occasion, and that's what we'll need.
Anything else for Coach?
And thanks everyone for coming.
Thank you.